Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to Snow Talk. I'm Wave Meteorologist Brian Good for an update on our blog, which we have a chance to talk, of course, about snow and other things too, as you're about to see here today. Long range outlook, I'll try to cover some of that toward the end, but there's a lot happening just even in the short range. I really don't have to go too far out to get out of the realm of comfortability, if you will, because things are happening relatively fast, and they will be that way for the next 3, maybe even 4 weeks into a wave country. So, yeah, buckle up, guys. It's going to be the core, really, I think, of the winter season coming our way here as we head evolve. Just how much of a winter ends up becoming is still, of course, the big question mark. But I'll at least explain where we are with the players that are on the field. Yes, Andre, I did see your comment about Kathleen Nicky. Yes, she is probably watching. She's in a different room right now. This is Kathleen's last day with us here at Wave. She'll be on at noon today, so make sure to watch. And I do have another special guest that we will have in just a few more minutes with you guys. All right, before we get to that, let me quickly get to the snowboard. Wow, it's been a while since we've had 4 items. That's the max that I can list on the board. Most of them are the same idea, though, right? It's a rain to snow type of setup. Not always the best scenario to get a decent snow out of it, but at least it's something. Now, the weekend system is a little different, and it's in 2 different pieces, so I'll explain that as well. That's why it's worded a little differently than the others. But the rest of them do look to be a rain to snow type of ordeal. So the good news is we should at least get rid of the drought status, at least the core of the drought as we evolve there. Someone said no audio. Susan said no audio. Do you guys have any audio? Type 1 if you hear me. Type 2 if you do not. Because I thought for sure I saw it listed on the meter. So let me know before I get too involved. Everyone's okay? All right. So Susan, check your settings. Make sure that you have it clicked on. Tap the little icon there. Okay. Thanks for letting me know, though. You never trust me. I have before gone through the entire blog without hitting my mic button. And it was like big time chance for snow. Thankfully, the snow didn't happen, so I didn't get in trouble. Okay, so here's a live look now to Starlight, Indiana, Huber's Orchard and Winery. Cold morning, right? A lot of frost out there this morning. It looked like it snowed when you walked outside. The coldest spot that I could find in Kentucky was in our area was about 13 degrees in Meade County. Ali dipped to about 25 this morning. So, yeah, some cold stuff that we've had this morning. There's a spammer, by the way, in the chat. Again, I can't block, so don't click anything on the spam side. All right, just want to make sure I mention that. 27 now in Louisville, by the way, 19 into Salem. So cold and dry. That's important for a couple of things. For one, it will allow us to still get into the 40s today, even though we had a cold start. It's dry air. Any hint, even hazy sunshine, will allow us to get overachieved, if you will, and climb a good 20 degrees into this afternoon. The dry air will also be a player tonight when moisture increases. Much of what starts is not going to be able to reach the ground. It will evaporate as it tries to do so. That will actually help in cooling the air down, and that will play a role in how things evolve for the snow potential in the morning hours. So where is our snow system now? Well, it's back to the west. Doesn't look very impressive. It's just got an arc of snow there from Kansas all the way into about the Ozarks, and then some rain into the Arklatex area of the country. And that's really about it. This system is not a huge ordeal for us. And now it will become stronger as it rounds up the eastern seaboard, becomes quite the impressive coastal low. We will get the weaker side of this feature as it moves on by the Ohio Valley. And it's good and bad. Weak is good to allow at least for us to get some snow out of it. If it were stronger, this would be a rain or even a thunderstorm scenario for us. So being a weaker low pressure, it has a chance to go more south. But also the downside to that is it doesn't have a ton of moisture to work with. So we don't have a lot of cold air and a lot of ability to get this to be a bigger snow, but at least it's something. This is one of the in-house models. I think it actually tells the story fairly well. Kathy says, now you're frozen. Susan still says no sound. All right, guys, let me know if there's a problem, because on my screen, everything seems to be working. So just scream and yell. My chat's on a different screen, so I apologize. So I don't always get to see it all the time unless I look to the side. So, okay, everyone's all right? Okay. Thank you very much. So as we head into this evening, we'll stay dry. Even if the radar were to light up with any type of green or in some cases even some snow that may show up on the Wave Weather app, it will not be reaching the ground. Dry air is going to win out. That will change as we head into the overnight hours. As we start to get moisture to move in, some of that will again be evaporating because of the dry air. Temperatures should be certainly above freezing. I think we'll be around that 37, 38 degree mark. Now, this is where things get crucial. We're going to get the air to cool down. Then we'll have a chance to increase the rainfall rate. Again, rainfall rate is absolutely crucial in this scenario. You've got to increase the amount that the raindrop is falling out of that cloud fast. Large drops too. But the faster it can do that, the more it's able to take cold air this a few miles above our head and be able to pull it down to the lower layers of the atmosphere and allow for the snow to take over at that point. It's going to happen very fast. And this is the downside for snow lovers, is this whole process of the dry air eating away at some of this. Then you cool the air down. Then you get the amount of moisture you need to get you some snow, and it moves out of town. It's out of here. So it all happens like a 1, 2, 3 punch over just a few hour span. That's the reason why snowfall amounts are quite limited in this scenario. But having said that, I still think some of you can get a little coating of snowfall out of this. So as we get into 11 o'clock news tonight, make sure to watch. Kevin will have an update on how things are going as far as anything reaching the ground. Once we get to about 4 or 5 a.m., that is when we should have the max potential of moisture moving into central areas of Kentucky. And at that point, we have what we call the dynamic cooling. The air will begin to cool. We drop down. This is one of those scenarios that's a bit odd. I don't see us getting down to the freezing mark with this. I think we'll drop into the 34, 35 degree range, but 32 may be difficult. But at 34 and 35, you get large enough snowflakes coming down, a moderate snow, it can still accumulate, especially on grassy areas. It can stick to the trees, the rooftops, the cars. And when it comes to the roadways, they will become slush. So that can override a warm ground if it's a decent enough rate and temperatures are right there about 34, 35, it can be done. But it is a very slushy type of snow. As soon as we get to that point, and right now the sweet spot to see that happen, I still like that area east of Louisville, around Lexington, EKU, Richmond area, and perhaps even some 1-2 inch amounts around Indianapolis. You'll be a bit colder, but you won't have as much moisture up in that area of Indiana. Louisville right now, Louisville's tough. Louisville's right on the edge of where the higher precipitation rates will be, but Louisville also has the lovely heat island effect. So our numbers may actually be a few degrees above what everyone else says. Therefore, our drop that will happen has to be more dramatic to get it to snow level criteria, if you will, for the city of Louisville. So it's going to be a bit tougher for the city and the metro to get this burst of snow. But outlying areas, different story. And I'm saying as close as like Fern Creek, Mount Washington, Shelbyville, Taylorsville. You guys could be just to that point where you get cold enough to get a little burst of snow. But Dixie Highway area, downtown Louisville, even toward say New Albany, it's going to be a bit more of a tougher setup because you'll be too close to the city at that point with that wind flow. But this happens roughly before the sun comes up in the morning. So if you want to see this, you're going to have to stay up all night or get up real early to see if it happens or not, because by 9 or 10 a.m., it's already out of here. It's moving off to the east, and any snow that did fall will likely already begin melting. And if you sleep in tomorrow, you may not even notice anything was on the ground by the time you wake up, which is disappointing for a snow lover, right? So the kids, I think, will be up early, and certainly the adults. But I think if you're traveling at all, this is a slushy, wet snow scenario. This is not icy roads, all right? So most vehicles, slushy snow, while it is slick, you do have at least some traction to work with versus ice. So it's not one of those setups that's going to just shut down roads. It's just going to be slick travel while it's coming down hard, especially in areas that have that slush. Just reduce your speed. If you're out traveling overnight, before the sun comes up tomorrow between Frankfort, Lexington, even toward Oldham County and Trimble County. If you're out there taking the back roads, especially if you're in that zone, just reduce your speed. Things to watch for in this scenario: if you're looking outside and the rain is coming down at a moderate rate, I mean, you can tell that it's pouring down outside, and your house thermometer has got 36 on it, and it's pouring rain, you are in a really good spot. Pay attention out that window. You may see it switch over to snow in a matter of a couple of minutes, in fact, in that kind of a rate. If you have a very light rain and you're 38 degrees, you're likely going to stay light rain. So the rate is, again, important on this. Lighter is going to be tough to flip the atmosphere. A heavier rate will be enough to flip it over. I hope that makes sense. Right now, Kentucky has a better chance to see that flip in a more dramatic way than Indiana does. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it really is a minor issue. Will it be enough for an advisory? Probably. I think Lexington area and Cincinnati, maybe even Indianapolis may issue advisories on it. I think that's certainly on the table, and that's something they'll make the call on later today. We get into Saturday night and Sunday. Another weak wave moves by. This one is similar on the idea of rate being a factor, but there's not a lot of moisture with this because the first one took so much away. So this one's weak in that sense. So even if you were to get snow out of it, it would be less than a ½ inch. Nothing to get too excited about, but at least it's something. We'll monitor that one too as we move through your Sunday. Here are the model projections on this. The NAM model, a little more aggressive with areas north and northeast of Louisville. I love the little gap it's got near the Louisville's. The city of Louisville itself. Here's the in-house model you just saw. Again, mainly around the Lexington, Richmond, Kentucky area really likes. The HER model, same storyline. That I-64 area and I-71. Those kind of like a, is it the greater than or less than sign? I always get it. Anyway, math was not my strong suit, so don't ask me how I got into this career. There's GFS, very similar on that idea as well. And here's the Euro, which Euro really has not changed much at all the past several days. It really has been bullseye in this area. So our map is very similar actually to the Euro idea of it being just east of the city of Louisville, where you could get over 2 inches in a couple of cases, but most of this is going to be a 1 to 2 inch ordeal. And for the metro, it's probably going to be less than an inch. And in some cases, you will not have anything because you won't be able to get to the flip. You'll be stuck at that 38 in light rain, which is absolutely miserable. Absolutely miserable. We have 2 more systems coming our way. But before I can talk about that, I have something else I need to mention. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Why do y'all seem nervous? What's going on?
Who's nervous? Someone's nervous? You're really good at multitasking.
I'm trying to be a good multitasker. I am not a good. No, I cannot. Wow, this is like the slowest Zoom ever. Okay, come up. All right, come up here to the mic. I'll put your mics on. Everyone, here's Twine Andrew.
Twine is here too.
Jessica Dobson, meteorologist. Jessica, I'm getting rid of my name because you don't care about that. Jessica is leaving us.
Yes.
Sunday is your last day.
I know.
Here at Wave.
I feel like no one's going to be to watch my last newscast and be like, where'd you go?
What? You got snow for your last weekend, so you're going to have a lot of people watching.
Yeah. I know. And it's funny. I was actually just looking at my memories. 2 years ago, I was moving here during a winter storm warning. And then I'm also moving on Wednesday morning.
Yes. I haven't had a chance to tell them yet, but we're going into
just wait.
We're going to go into an alert day for next week. Just for Jessica.
An alert day on your way up?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. And it was also my first week here. I moved from Myrtle Beach to here in like 2 days, which is just crazy. And then adding the snow on top of it was just a whole other thing. So I got here. I don't know if you remember, I had COVID.
Yes.
After 2 days here, I had COVID. My first day on air was after having COVID for a week.
It was a lot at one time.
So
the weather, everyone's health. It was like a literal just everything coming together.
Yes.
Kind of weird. I should mention, by the way, Jessica is from here.
Yes.
Grew up in the Highview area, which is where I live at now. And so let everyone know, where are you going?
Yeah. So I will be going to Orlando, Florida. It's such a great opportunity. It's going to be at the Fox Station Orlando. So I know there are so many people who go to Disney all the time. I know Ryan Hoke is always down there too. So if you are going to Disney or just Orlando, I'll be there. It's Monday through Friday. I'll be on in the mornings. So I'll get my weekends for the first time in like 5 years. First time I'm off weekend doubles in like 5 years, which is crazy.
that is a tough shift. So I'm happy for you. Yeah. It's a good station, really good station.
Yeah.
Down there in Florida. Now you'll be tracking hurricanes.
I'm excited.
Aren't you going to miss snow? At least talking about it, even though it never happens?
No. I'm so. No,
Well, I'm never going to end up in Florida.
I
I think I would have a panic attack.
I feel like with forecasting, it's just, I feel like it matters. I mean, not that it doesn't matter anywhere else, but here it's just so much more important. The littlest amount. And
the energy of it all.
Yes, it is. I feel like so stressful. And I would, I think, rather do the hurricane thing, but I'll be around.
That's like
I don't know.
weeks on one storm, bro.
That's true, but at least it's just one. But yeah, I love Wave so much. It has meant so much working here. I sometimes still cannot believe when I look back at, I still have videos from my internship, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe I even got a job at that point in my life anyway. I still can't believe I have a job sometimes now with some of the ridiculous things I say on here. But
now, are you going to be doing a blog at all this weekend? Is this your last time appearing here on the blog? Now I'm pressuring you to do a vlog this weekend.
I probably will have to do one on Saturday evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure they have a chance to see you again.
Yeah.
If they miss you on the TV side on Sunrise Saturday and Sunday morning as well. And then she leaves us.
I know. Don't make me sad.
On Fridays, we only get to see Jessica usually on Fridays.
No.
And all we do, I never get anything done. First off.
I know. I talk everybody's
This is what
ear off.
the blog is always late on Fridays
Because of me.
we're always just talking about a million things.
I'm always like catching up with Brian. I'm like, you know, what you do? Or you're always on vacation, so I'm always hearing about all your vacations because you take like
I never take vacations.
Weeks off.
I'm always here.
But yeah, the Fridays are always very fun. It makes my Monday, because Fridays are my Mondays. I only work 3 days of the week, but it makes my Mondays a lot better. But I'm like, gosh, even when I work your shift and fill in for you, I'm like, how does he get anything done with me talking to him the whole time? Because I just no.
I never get anything done. That's the problem. And then Tawana starts telling me stories, and we're just rolling.
It's just
rolling down.
He doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
So if Brian doesn't ever make sense, it's usually because of
all right.
she and I.
Oh,
I love you so much.
I'm just gonna
love
cry.
you too.
No.
Say goodbye, everybody. And again, you can catch her this weekend on Sunrise. And
It's my
again,
last
she probably will
weekend.
have a blog update. So I gotta make sure.
Yeah, I'll try to do one more.
Mickey
Mickey
will
Mouse.
fall in love with you.
It's actually funny. I haven't been to Disney except like when I was in 8th grade for dance competition. So this is gonna be. I'll maybe have an excuse to go now. I guess.
And I have an excuse to visit somebody to go see.
Yes.
The Star Wars exhibit. I'm excited.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you, Jessica.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Tawana. For y'all hanging out. It gets lonely in here sometimes.
Legit try. I know to cry.
Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry.
Oh, okay.
Because then Maya and Tari just went by. If she comes in here, we're all doomed. We're all going to cry.
Oh gosh.
So let's not have her cry. All right. So again, catch Jessica this weekend, so you have a chance to say goodbye to her and wish her good luck. And thanks for your comments. That she's going to be seeing them all. Trust me. All right. So anyway, back to the real stuff. Next week, while Jessica is making her journey into the Sunshine State, here's what is interesting. We're going to be tracking is a strong low pressure that's going to move right from Texas into portions of eastern Canada and New England. This pressure on this is a map showing where pressures were dropped below 985. And you'll see that it really doesn't form until we get to about Tuesday and Wednesday. It really will begin to show up, and it develops and deepens right there in West Kentucky and southern areas of Illinois, and then really becomes a strong low pressure into eastern Canada. This, for comparison's sakes, is going to rival some of the stronger low pressures that we had back in the spring. You guys remember all that crazy wind that we had. Now, I'm not saying we're going to get that kind of a wind scenario. In fact, if anything, because the track will be over us, we will have strong wind in advance of it. The wind may go to near calm levels when the center of it, or the eye, like a hurricane, the center of it moves over us, the wind will relax, and then we're on the other side of the low pressure on Wednesday. It's a cold wind that will blast through. Majority of this will indeed look to be rain, but I think our issue right now is going to be the pressure on this getting so low rapidly through the Ohio Valley into the Northeast that the wind speed forecast is going to keep changing. So stay close to updates on that, especially if you're south and east of the track of it. So if you're watching anywhere near and south of the parkways and east toward Frankfort, you may be in a really strong wind zone out of this before it moves on by. But right now, it's been so consistent in the data that it's coming that our confidence is up high enough to go an alert day for this, just for the potential for strong wind gusts. And heavy rainfall that may get involved. Now, at the moment, the severe risk looks like it's going to stay down here across the southeast corner of the country, but I can't rule out one or two lines of showers that can contain damaging winds just because of the wind fields. It's possible. Even without thunder and lightning, we could run into that scenario. That would be on Tuesday. So a bit of an odd setup here, but it is such a powerful low pressure in an anomaly event, which means the models are not going to get this great. So we have to be ahead of the game on that. Once it moves by, yes, you got cold air to work with to get it to mix with and change to snow, but it won't be brutally cold. There will be wind chills. But I don't see anything significant on the snow side because much of the moisture on this one is on the eastern side of the low pressure. But it may, because the wind field may become a blizzard scenario for the Great Lakes or even around, say, New York State. They're going to be watching this one carefully. It's going to be a pretty wild setup there Tuesday into Wednesday. And then yet another one we'll dive in next Friday, a week from today. This one looks to be rain, maybe going over to snow. We move it out. Here comes the next one. Rain going to snow. Each time these get a little closer together, though, the rain portion of the leading side of this begins to narrow down in time, and the snow portion begins to become more lengthy. So therefore, we end up with more of a snow situation as January evolves. And I think that's the trend we're going to be looking at. It's going to be baby steps to get there, but each one of these plays a significant role on how we get to that point. In fact, tracking the polar vortex, the core of that very cold Arctic air, it still looks like it wants to dive south into the lower 48. There is certainly a trend for this to aim more towards, say, New Mexico to Kansas to Illinois versus Kentucky or Tennessee. The reason for that, signs of the lovely southeast ridge that will likely hold on in this area of the Caribbean all the way to the eastern seaboard. So the cold Arctic air will dive down, but I think it's going to have a limit. But we'll be just close enough to it to where the storm track is going to remain active in our area. But this time we have very cold air just down the road. And that will make the systems, the low pressures, much more wild in nature. And I think our potential to get some wild wintry weather will start to kick in. So there you go. A lot to track, guys. I told you it would be over the next several days. But let's focus on the snow setup tonight into tomorrow morning, see how that plays out. And then we'll tackle next week. We'll tackle the ones after that all the way through the rest of January. Whew. All right, that was a lot today, guys. Appreciate you watching. Thanks for saying goodbye to Jessica as well today on the blog. And say hello to Tawana. She's over here crying. And I will see you guys coming up on midday, less than an hour. Take care, guys.